Well, hello, Patriots. Today is February 23rd, 2024. We got day number 1143 of the Clown World administration in the White House. We're going to be talking about J6 news updates and chat here. We got Vigil number 571. That was a great vigil last night, by the way. And, man, it was like a Patriot superstar session there at the Vigil yesterday. All right, we got some good network here for a change. The solar flares have all settled down. And thanks, Deb. I forgot this time. Hi, Pathfinder. How you doing? Berg, hello. How's Canada? We're going to be talking about Vigil 571. And man, there was a lot of great Patriots there. I haven't seen some people in a long time out there. We had Tom Jeffries from Northern Neck was up in D.C. there for the vigil at the Gulag last night. Professor Clemens, Gary McBride, Julie Kelly was there. Joe the Box, or no, not Julie Kelly. Tina Peters was there again. Debbie. Great Patriot. She's there a bunch of times. It's good to see you up there, Debbie. And then a couple other great Patriots, man. Tommy Tatum, Brian, Jade. It's good to see you Patriots up there, man. Holding down the fort for 571 days in a row. Way to go. Way to go, Freedom Corner. And then, of course, we got CPAC going on at the same time. There's a lot of things on right now. Yeah, Canada's going down fast, huh? Yeah, I bet everything's going down fast. They're crashing every system that they possibly can here in America. Hi, Nova. How are you? So I think right now there's a Trump speech on, or this show just came on, I think, on Right Side. Trump's giving a speech tonight somewhere. And what a guy. I mean, he's going to be speaking at CPAC on Saturday. The dude is on fire, man. I never seen a guy work so hard in my entire life. It's really, really impressive to watch him work, man. Yeah, Crying in the Dark, hello. I was going to announce that. Yes, we got a little rally happening here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania for Amos Miller. I am going to that for sure. That'll be this next Thursday. And anyone's welcome to come down. I'd be happy to meet you guys, and I'll be live streaming that for sure. It looks like at 11:30 we go have a rally outside that courthouse, and I showed you guys all that a couple times when I live streamed from the city. We looked at the court steps there, walked around it. And then at 1:30, the court hearing begins inside the courthouse. So, yes, I'm going to that. What about you, Crying in the Dark? Are you in the area? I didn't know. But yes, thank you, Ridgeline, for sending me that info. I just got that moments ago. Okay, Trump is on now. Okay, so, I mean, you can go watch Trump and then check this out later or whatever. Got a lot of options to watch now instead of just one thing to watch all the time. One Freedom Corner vigil to watch, man. Well, right on, Crying in the Dark. It would be cool to meet you. Hey, Stormbringer. Yeah, we're talking about the Amos Miller hearing that's going to be here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, man. I don't know if you can make it down. I know you're a Pennsylvania guy too, Stormbringer. Good show on APN today, too, by the way. American Patriot News Project. Okay, the Berks Lancaster line. Okay, great. That'll be great. We'll have to get in touch, switch phone numbers and stuff like that. I will be there probably at, I'm thinking 11 o'clock, man. I want to get started, get a good spot, figure out where we're going to be shooting from, talk to the organizers, and make sure he's cool with me live streaming that. If not, I'll just stay out of his hair and live stream elsewhere. But yeah, I'd like to make a scene down in Lancaster for Amos Miller. All right. So, all right, man, that's great. That's great. I think Ridgeline said she's coming down too for that. Ferg, yeah, I saw Oreo's heading back to the border. I saw he was driving there last night. There's other border action going on, and he's going to that Jacumba area, which is the new spot now where most of the illegals are coming across the border. And Priscilla, the court case is about Amos Miller is an organic farmer, and he sells unpasteurized milk and other products. I mean, he's got a whole line of products, and he doesn't want to go buy a license from the government to permit him to grow food. And they have been harassing him. The federal government kind of went through a big harassment of Amos Miller about 2 years ago. And that all kind of settled out. They decided to just kind of lay off of Amos. He paid $80-something thousand worth of fines to the feds. And then recently the Pennsylvania Food and Drug Administration, or whatever that organization is, went and confiscated thousands of dollars worth of food from his farm where he operates out of. And he is effectively, I think, put out of business. The problem being, though, there are hundreds of people that rely on him for where they buy their food here. So this is a major overstepping of the government here. More tyranny exposed, like everything else, man. Oreo, I get Oreo on Rumble, is where I've seen him now. Yeah, pure milk is good for you, man. It's great for your immune system and everything. Several platforms, X, Rumble, and others. I think he's still called Oreo Express on Rumble, is the name of his channel on Rumble. Freedom Gal, Rumble is another social media. Another thing to confuse us old people with. We're used to having 3 channels on the TV and you had to get up to change the channel, man. The world has changed. The world has changed. Yeah, the government needs to leave Amos Miller alone. There is another Amishman here that got busted for working on guns and selling guns too, rifles. And they confiscated hundreds of rifles from this guy. This is a great time to stand up right now. We're laying it on the line we're having enough of the government bullshit with how they're harassing us here. But we got to pick our battles. We got to choose our battles wisely here. And I think our number one battle is the election coming up. We cannot allow mail-in voting. No ways about it. It just can't happen. And you don't want the Postal Service in charge of your elections. It comes down to that. That is the nitty-gritty of the whole deal right there. We can't allow the United States Postal Service to be right in the middle of our elections because we know how all government agencies go there. Yeah, Rumble's like a YouTube channel. You can make a channel and you put videos on it and you can live stream on it. They have commercials. It's a lot like YouTube. But you're right, they don't censor, Deb. That's true. So yeah, man, great crowd at Freedom Corner last night in Washington, D.C., standing up for the J6ers, making sure their voice is not squashed by the feds. And we're there to stand to make their voices heard. And they did make their voices heard last night by having about 30 people at the corner. A lot of people from CPAC showed up and having them call out to the corner. Night started out with prayer. The night ended with prayer. That's how we begin everything out at Freedom Corner. We are We are led by God to stand up to this wickedness. This wickedness was hiding in the corners. This wickedness was under the rug. It was in the ceiling. It was hiding all over the place until we make it known. And that's what God calls us to do in the scriptures. Hey, Ridgeline, thanks for sending me that info, Ridgeline. I didn't see any of that stuff that you sent me, and there was a lot of good information in there. And we were just talking about going to the Lancaster Courthouse on Thursday. Yeah, it was awesome, Cleo. Last night at the corner, it was awesome. Dwight started off the night with the prayer, and then we got a phone call from Andrew Taki. He's a J6er inside the Gulag there, and he was welcoming all the CPAC visitors there. And it was great, just to start the night off right then and there, that the guys inside knew that there was a bunch of CPAC people there. And Deb for Freedom made a nice short clip of that phone call. If you want to just watch one thing from last night, Deb for Freedom's channel on YouTube has that posted, and it's a short clip of just that phone call. And he did really well with welcoming the CPAC visitors to the Freedom Corner there. And a lot of the people that were there that haven't been there before are shocked to know that this is still going on. The arrests are still happening too. They just arrested another guy in Arkansas, you know, and Ridgeline sent me that story. And that guy from Arkansas was 70-something years old, and he was one of the dudes that was climbing the wall at the Capitol. I was shocked to hear about that, man. Yeah, Stu, there is all kinds of weird stuff about the New World Trade Center. Numbers and everything. All right, Cleo, you see the couple of the shorts I put out? I'm trying to do one every day. I'm getting really quick at it now, or quicker. That last one I made, it only took me like 10 minutes to make that little short video. But I'm having fun with that, and I wish I could get permission from other people's channels to do that. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with this stuff. I'm just trying to figure it all out. If I got to get a computer or what, I don't know. I don't want to get a computer, but man, I see the stuff that Deb for Freedom does on that computer and the stuff that David Valentine was doing with Freedom Express Media. And I would like to be able to do that stuff, but man, I think it would just take me forever to learn all that and get it together. And they do such a good job doing it. So I'll just keep doing what I do, walking the path God lays out for me every morning here. Next phone call of the day was Taylor Jonatakis, and he just hit the ground running with this phone call. Usually he's got like a book or something or an essay that he wrote that he wants to share with us. But man, he just got on that phone and just started. You can't just vote and hope, people. We gotta, there's a thing going on here in D.C. They're railroading these J6ers through the court system. They're bending every single rule in the book. They're not even following their own rules. They're doing illegal things. They won't allow you to enter evidence to defend you. They're squelching all kinds of that. You got to pay a trial tax, If you don't take the plea bargain, you get 3 extra sentencing points added. The plea deals are bogus because you got to admit to things that you didn't do. He said, write a letter, call your congressman, do something every day. Get your church involved. Truth is resilient and infectious. That was one of the great statements that he made last night. And it's true. He said, proclaim the truth, man. Get out there and do it. This is our job, America. This is our duty. In the Declaration of Independence, it says there, it is our duty to stand up against this and throw off a corrupt government so that we can have a government by the people, for the people. And we'd have that if they didn't stop following all the rules. We had a great framework, man. We had a constitution. Yes, there were disputes about the Constitution all throughout history, But in the last 20 years, man, what they have done to the Constitution is it basically aborted it. You know, our government can lie to us. I mean, I knew that police officers could lie to you, but your government can lie to you. Your government can finance propaganda. We got the CIA running around the world overthrowing governments. We got the FBI spying on Americans. It's beyond. It might be beyond repair, but what do we do then? I'd say go back to the Constitution, make oaths meaningful again. If you break an oath, you can be removed from office. That isn't even in effect anymore, you know? Cleo, I don't have that name of the judge who thinks cops died on J6 right here, but Mickey has mentioned him many times. I could look it up in my notes. But yeah, delusional judges that think basic facts about J6, they believe basic lies, like cops died on J6. Remember back to Brian Sicknick's funeral, man. For I don't know how long, they told us that Brian Sicknick was killed by somebody hit him in the head with a fire extinguisher. And then they had a 3-day funeral at the Capitol for him. And yeah, it's a bummer the guy died, man, but he died from a stroke. There were Patriot medics that were there, Trump supporters, that told the police that Brian Sicknick had the signs of a stroke. And his buddies gave him a bottle of water and told him to go sit down, and he died from that stroke the next day. But the government tried to tell the whole country that he died from a fire extinguisher hit to the head. And there is a picture of some cop getting hit in the head with a fire extinguisher, but that wasn't even Brian Sicknick, man. And Tucker Carlson, all this information has trickled out since then. I mean, everybody who's been following J6 knows that that's a lie, and we have known that's a lie for a long time. But your common person on the streets still thinks that guy died from getting hit in the head with a fire extinguisher because the government is allowed to propagandize people, and they have a control over the media companies, and that can't be legal, man. Our press, our media is supposed to be somewhat of a safeguard against the government, but now they are working hand in hand to deceive us, to deceive the common man. How are we supposed to vote intelligently if our own government can lie to us like that? And the media, you know. We got to have free speech, but we can't have conspiracy lies fed to us all the time. That's not right. We had last night, so Taylor just went on a rant. That was a great rant, Taylor. And that'd be another reason to look up the Vigil from last night, just to see that rant. It was good. It was really good. And then we got a guy, Joe the Box from New York. He's the owner of America's First Warehouse, and we've had several events up there that have been live streamed in the past. And he just had a little time on the microphone there and between phone calls, and just called himself, hey, I'm an aggressive patriot. So if he would have went to J6, he would have been one of them guys crawling through a broken window, screaming and yelling in the Capitol to make his voice heard. And he definitely feels that he would have been in that prison with those guys if he had made it to D.C. on January 6th, 2021. Then we got the next phone call was from Chris Quaglin and Mark Brew. And Chris Quaglin has been on this rant about getting a letter to Judge McFadden. So Chris Quaglin has refused every plea deal. He is looking at 14 felonies now, because every time he refuses a plea deal, they throw on 3 more felonies. And this has been a process since he's been incarcerated. And he finally got a response from the administration within the jail that he will be able to send a certified letter to the judge that's going to be presiding over his case. Chris is down to a pro se scenario. He's going to represent himself in court because he's burned through 3 or 4 lawyers and $250,000. He's lost everything. He's lost his wife, his kid, and he is not backing down. And I give him high regards for that stance, man. This is the stance to take, and it's not the easy stance to take, but man, I give Chris a lot of credit. So he's finally going to be able to send this certified letter to Judge McFadden, and he was telling about how he has filed over 300 grievances about all kinds of different things within that prison, and this is how we're exposing the evil within there, about the food, about the conditions, about the everything, every possible thing they could screw up, they've screwed up. And they don't respond to these things. And he says it's a system in there, you know. He's finally getting a response to a grievance he filed 5 months ago. And he says that the way the administration works there is they run smoke screens for each other, okay? Like the one person has to grab the piece of paper from Chris, okay? So that guy can say he lost the paper for a month or two. And then he hands it to his supervisor, okay? And then that guy can say, oh, well, they can do the runaround where I didn't get that paper, before he has to hand it to his commander, who will then hand it to the warden, and they just run smoke screens for everybody. That's the way it works when everybody's a bozo where you work. And then Mark Brew, he's a very intelligent guy when it comes to law. He's got the terminology down, man, that these guys are being denied access to computers, access to copier machines, access to carbon paper, just the basic things that you need to put together your case if you're going to represent yourself. And these are called instruments of law. That's the legal mumbo jumbo term for it, okay? So if you go in there, a court, and say, well, I didn't have access to a copier machine, the judge is going to think you're an idiot because you don't know the term. It's an instrument of law. A copy machine is an instrument of law. And that these things that enable you to put together your case are being denied to all the pro se defendants. Every one of them that I've heard of that's gone in there, Brandon Fellows, Brian Mock, they've all been denied access to this information. They've all been denied the 44,000 hours of security footage there, which has still not been released, which would exonerate every single one of them, basically. And then Mark and Chris were also saying about that when you sign a paper, it's a law that you have to have a legible signature on the papers. So they can hand it in, and the guy who receives it can put a bullshit signature on there. And then they'll hand that in, and they'll deny it because it has a bullshit signature on it. So you got to stand there and make sure the guy signs it in a proper way. They got rules. They got their own rules. It says you can't just put a one-letter signature. You can't just put a scribble. It has to be a legible name when you sign your name. And they don't do that. They don't do that. So that was just a great rundown of all the malarkey that they got to put up with in there, man. For years now, they've been putting up with this stuff. And this is why we're standing on Freedom Corner. This is not cool. This is not America. We got rules about this that need to be enforced, man. That's right, Stormbringer. Sixth Amendment to the Constitution, none of them are being followed, man. We can find instances where every single one, First Amendment, in the first place, they all should have been allowed to be there on the First Amendment, right? The cops, before they retreated 8 times at the Capitol, they should have got on bullhorns and made announcements. You cannot advance beyond this point, things like that. They didn't do that. They're not allowed to just go shove people and beat on people without being attacked, man. So that was it for Chris and Mark. Another great phone call. The phone calls last night were great, man. Then we got a call from Farhad Azari and his son. These are the two Iranian guys. They're American citizens that came from Iran and settled in America in about the year 2000. They've opened businesses up, man. They're prosperous guys, but they take their freedom seriously. They came from Iran to come here to live in a free country. And they got arrested on J6, and they've been just lately brought into the gulag. Apparently their trials are coming up. And Farhad was saying about how Mike Johnson, we got to get a hold of Mike Johnson's. No more money to Iran. I mean, he was up on every topic that we're in an uproar about here. You can't be sending money to Iran, and this is to Ukraine. I'm sorry. Mike Johnson, no money to Ukraine, and to release the security videos. How can you keep that all secret, man? We, the people, paid for them cameras. We paid for the people that watch the videos on there. We paid for the equipment to record it. That's our property right there. You can't tell me that that's a high security thing if you're going to start arresting 1,300 people and more, and then deny them the evidence, because the evidence is that was an undercover instigated event there at J6. So then they wanted to release the videos with blurred out faces. Well, no, we want to know who the instigators were. That's the whole point of releasing the footage on that. Yeah, and then Farhad's son, I think his name is Francis or Frank maybe. He was talking about the food in there, and he's saying like some of these guys in here are starting to look a little bit sickly, you know, like he must have some type of a health background or something. And he knows what a poor diet looks like. If you're eating a poor diet for months and months and months and years, it does have a effect on you. And that's what he was mentioning, this food. They don't get any fruit. There's hardly any protein in the food that they eat. The only way that they can get protein is to supplement it with tuna bags. Bags of tuna is like the only thing that he was saying that they can get with protein in it, man. And then they went in on like when they got arrested, the Farhad and his son, they lived in two different houses, and they were just saying how ridiculous it was. It was a SWAT team with, dogs and drones and helicopters flying over and snipers on the roof, at the neighbor's house. That, can't you just go arrest somebody? What is with this militarization of our police forces here? Somebody else talked about it too last night when they were arrested, and they're coming out with their hands up on their front porch, and the guy looks at his wife, and she's got red dots all over her, laser pointer dots all over her chest. I mean, what is that? What is that? Are you allowed to aim a weapon at somebody that you do not intend to shoot? Like, what is the purpose? They were there to arrest the guy, but they got his wife with laser dots on her all over her. So explain that, police. Explain that. How do you tell us that's even justified? Hey, Sylvia. Hi, C4 Freedom. Hello, Housey B. Stormbringer, Tammy Mundy, Cindy W. Ridgeline. Cleo Bonnie. Hello. Oh, it's so good to have you guys here. U.S. military tracking a high-altitude balloon over Colorado. Pentagon scrambles jets to investigate. Let's shoot our most expensive missile at that thing, huh? How about that? Or maybe FJB will let it fly all the way across the country again. Crazy stuff, man. I mean, words escape me. Words escape me on this stuff, man. That's not how you run a country. That's not how you protect a country. So yeah, Farhad and his son, they own businesses. They came to the U.S. looking to live in a land of freedom, and this is what they found, and now they're sitting in prison for standing up against a fraudulent election that everybody knows was a fraud. And here in Pennsylvania, we got cases going before our Supreme Court. We had a Republican majority until the elections were all rigged. Now the Republicans have lost that majority. We've lost the Supreme Court, and they just keep putting out these rulings that are just complete bullshit. You know, that's all there is to it. And our Republican reps are just like, whoa, what can we do? What can we do? You know, well, you screwed it up in the first place, and that's why you're in the position now. Now it's up to we the people. Our own representatives are like, we can't do anything about this. So now it's we the people. This is where we the people jump in. We are entitled to do this. We are required to do this by our Constitution, by our Declaration of Independence. When there is a long train of abuses, we have the right and the duty to stand up against this stuff. And it's about time we do. So I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to rally. We cannot have mail-in voting. Everybody knows mail-in voting is rigged. You cannot have a secure election with mail-in voting. Everybody has said that in the past, and now they're all just shutting up about it. All our representatives, you know. Republicans have said that. Democrats have said that. Same thing with the machines, but let's just start one at a time, one thing at a time. Let's get rid of that mail-in voting by November. That's what's got to happen, man. Okay, next phone call of the night was Brian Jackson and Curtis Tate. Brian and Tate, Scooter and Tater, and they were talking about CPAC with Tammy there. And then Brian said, somebody got a pair of Trump sneakers. I think Chris Quaglin said, hey, man, the other night, oh, man, it'd be really cool if one of you patrons got me a pair of them Trump sneakers. Well, apparently one of the J6ers got a pair of the Trump sneakers. I mean, he doesn't have them, but somebody said that they bought them for him. So Brian was like, well, man, I want a pair of them too. Which started off a whole funny conversation between Brian and Tammy about shoes. Who's got more shoes, you know? Tammy's going, well, yeah, Brian likes sneakers. And Brian's going, well, you got lots of pairs of boots. And, it was just a great, lighthearted conversation, man, just to forget about the fact these guys are in prison for a while. It was good to hear them laughing and having a good time, man. We got woke AI Gemini makes everyone black, including George Washington. I saw this too today, man. The woke photo generating program. Yeah, it's inherently programmed to erase white people. You know, there is no white people anymore in the AI because we are less than scum or something, according to them. I saw an article where they asked the AI thing to make a picture of a pope, and it made two pictures of a pope, and neither of them were white. You know, I don't think there has ever been a pope that wasn't white, but the AI, in its genius smartness, made two pictures. And I'm getting a little sick of the anti-white thing. You know, I'll tell you right now, I'm a little sick of it. But hey, there's one race, the human race, okay? I will accept you on your merits, you know? You got my respect until you lose it, basically. And I'm really getting sick of the anti-white thing going around in America. Nobody's saying anything about it. That's not cool. And then Tammy did the roll call. Then Jeff Sable got on. Mickey took the call with Jeff Sable. We got a little bit of Daniel Balt spoken there a little bit. And then John George Todd got on there. And apparently while they were on the phone, a Fed or an FBI drove by there. And Mickey had a few choice words for that. And then Jeff and Tina Peters, the Colorado election worker from Colorado who was arrested and is on trial right now in D.C. They had a great talk, and Jeff Sable did a rundown, and you know, in jest, he was saying, so you were just working an election and you got 7 felonies and an assorted number of misdemeanors. And there were 3 reports that said really what you did was valid and all that. And so Tina Peters is up against 7 felonies, man, for calling out the rig, in Colorado, which is, it's just horrendous, man. It is just horrendous, man. Yeah, black Nazi. Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. So that's about it for Freedom Corner last night. It was a great night. And then seeing 25 or 30 people at the end there singing the God Bless the USA song, that was just so cool, man. Majority of U.S. voters believe cheating will affect the outcome of the 2024 election. 37% say it's not likely. Well, that's where we're at in Pennsylvania right now, and they can't do anything about it. So it's up to we the people. If we don't do anything about it, we have nobody but us to blame for this then. I got some information. I heard Brian Mock's trial was going to be happening this week, and Deb for Freedom got me some information on him and Ridgeline. Thank you, Ridgeline. I did not see that NBC article about Brian Mock's trial, but there was a lot of good information in there that I did not know about Brian Mock. And Brian Mock was sentenced. He got 33 months. So Brian has served 11 months so far, so he's going to have to serve, 22 more years? Well, 22 more months. And then he's going to have 24 months of probation on the end of that, plus a fine and a restitution of $2,700 altogether. So he's going to have to report to jail sometime after April 24th. So, and I didn't know a lot of the details about Brian Mock's original trial when that happened. This was his sentencing that just happened. And I didn't know his son turned him in. I mean, that was some stuff there. Brian Mock represented himself in court, and he said he was there because all these people on TV were telling him the election was rigged, which is what I saw too. That's why I thought it was rigged. In addition to a truckload of ballots being found here in Pennsylvania, the mail-in voting thing, just COVID and the mail-in voting thing, and mail-in voting increasing by 5,000% overnight in the country. I mean, that was a rig right there. So there is a lot of good information coming out just in regular mainstream media. That NBC article was jaded as hell, but it had a lot of good information in there, especially about his son, man. Brian Mock apparently was representing himself. His son turned him in. His son turned gay, and Brian Mock put his son on the witness stand. And there was like a family moment there, man. It was pretty wild, man. Debbie B., there were 3 black popes in Catholic Church history. Really? Okay, I didn't know this. We'll post it. For the record here, Pope Victor the First, who headed the church from 189 to 199. Pope Miltiades and Pope Gelasius. I didn't know that, Debbie B. See, we're all learning stuff here. Thanks for that, Debbie. I love learning stuff. Learning is the coolest thing in the world, man. Yeah, Deb for Freedom. I was going to just announce that too. And, okay, Maccabee will be sentenced. Let me post that too. Thank you, Deb for Freedom. She's up on all kinds of information, in addition to making those really good videos. Next Thursday is Maccabees. Oh, and Brandon Fellows' sentencing is next Thursday. Okay. And I remember right at the end of Brandon Fellows' trial, Brandon let loose. You know, he told the judge exactly what he thought of this kangaroo Nazi court that he just got convicted in. And that judge said, well, for that, Brandon, you can get an extra 6 months. So the tyrant judge behind the bench there just declared 6 extra months for Brandon Fellows, and we'll see what the remaining sentence is for him on Thursday. All right, what are you guys all talking about in here? And Maccabee, Ronald Maccabee, Sheriff Maccabee is going to be sentenced on Thursday also. Pope Gelasius sounds like an ice cream flavor. All right, man. Yeah, Bonnie, that's happened several times, though, in the J6 saga. I can't imagine turning my father in for something like that. A lot of kids, you get this button heads with your dad thing, and they think, like, okay, we'll pull a fast one. I'll show Dad. I'll call the feds. I'll call the FBI and tell him he went to J6. And that happened to several of them, Bonnie, unfortunately, man. But you know what? Fortunately, I know of 2 instances where that happened, and both of those instances, the father didn't, like, just tell the kid, forget you, I'm not your father anymore. They, in fact, when Brian Mock put his son on the stand there, he asked him, do you know that I love you? And the son said, yes, I know I love you, you know. I know you love me. It was a family moment which touched the judge that was presiding over that case. All right, Vigil 571 coming up. I think I got tonight's 572, I think, Deb. But I don't know. I might have lost count in there. I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. All right, we got Jamie. Hello, Jamie Crow. All right, we probably got to get going here because we got started so late. I found a spot with lights so we can so we don't got to be talking in the dark here. Okay, there is a guy, I was watching some stuff on Stop Hate, which is a Rumble channel, and StopHate.com is also a website that you can go to, and there is a video there, a documentary called A True Timeline that you can watch on Stop Hate Rumble channel for free. And then there was also a really good press conference that Steve Baker is a guy, he's a journalist who was at J6, and he doesn't know, the FBI is kind of like freaking him out a little bit, and they have been since January 6th, okay? So Steve Baker is living with this weight over his head where he doesn't know if the red dots are going to show up on his chest. That's the guy that was talking about the wives with the red dots and stuff. So the FBI keeps wanting to talk to him, and he has hired a group of attorneys to represent him, and he is saying, look, FBI, you're either going to bust me or you're not. What are we doing here? And the FBI they don't play nice, you know? They don't want to. They're not cool people, man. They're narcs. They're narcs, man. Oh yeah, okay, Jamie, we're going to do a rally here in Lancaster on next Thursday. The Amos Miller case is going to be going into the Lancaster courthouse. There's a hearing at 1:30 at the Lancaster Courthouse next Thursday, February 29th, Leap Day. And there will be an 11:30 rally outside the courthouse that we are going to be attending there, Jamie. I don't know if you can make that or not. But there might be a possibility you can make that. That might be right in that time of day when you got a couple hours where you can zip down and get in on that. So that's what's going on next Thursday, Jamie. And I'll try to make a short about that just so all that information is posted just on that event. Yeah, here's Stop Hate, man. There is a lot of good stuff on there. So Steve Baker did this press conference, and the audio sucked on it, but if you could bear through it, it's a 1-hour video, and basically it comes down to the point that Stewart Rhodes got sentenced to 18 years in prison. Stewart Rhodes didn't go into the Capitol. He didn't beat anybody up. He didn't trash any windows or nothing. He just said a lot of really scary words, okay? So in a nutshell, he went to jail for words. And that's Steve Baker as a journalist. And there were other journalists that have been tried, convicted, and sentenced that are doing time right now for words. So when it comes down to this, freedom of speech is just words. And that is all that a couple of these people have done. And they have these professional prosecutors and leadership teams and judges have put together these cases where they have just scared the daylights out of these guys to take plea deals, or they have denied them evidence in the courthouses so that they can't even try to represent themselves. And then they bring in these people and they convict them on that for words. Words. That's it. And that can't be allowed here in America, and that's why we got to continue to fight against this. So there's the link for Stop Hate. Okay, that balloon was over Utah earlier. Non-threatening, right. Okay, yeah, Mickey is getting all kinds of interviews out at CPAC right now. I saw she was getting interviewed by the Charlie Kirk show. It looks like she got on Jack Posobiec's show now. Awesome. And that's what they're there for. That's what the J6ers or the Freedom Corner warriors are there at CPAC. Okay, here we go. There is a link to the Steve Baker press conference, character assassination. That's it, yes. That's on a Rumble channel. So if you all aren't getting into Rumble yet, I suggest you start dipping your toes in that pond, because sooner or later, YouTube's going to shut everything down before that election, man. All right, I want to see some of this Trump speech. I got to be at Freedom Corner here in the chat soon. So thanks for joining me, Patriots. We got a good crowd in the house today. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you in the chat. Yes, they are working hard, Cindy, right? Right. Jump in wherever you can, Patriots. Jump in. No, Sherry did not get to do the interview with RSBN yet. She went and checked with them today, but RSBN got super busy, and supposedly this evening, when they had a chance to do it, they were going to do an interview. But she is on board to do an interview with RSBN and Mickey. But with the Trump, RSBN does all the Trump events, and they were scheduling 3 different Trump events at the same time, so they backed out of the scheduled meeting for this morning. And Patriots, if you can help me out, all I got is a P.O. box to make donations. If you like this show, if you like what you're seeing, you like getting the updates, and whatever else I can do, if I can get a war chest going, I can do some more things here. I can go down the Northern Neck, Patriots, for a weekend. I can hit Freedom Corner again. I'm going to be doing this thing in Lancaster because it's just right down the road. I don't need any money for that. But there's lots of other things we could be doing if we could get a war chest of some funds ready to put gas in the truck, basically, man. Okay, Ridgeline saying she'll post all the info for the Amos Miller rally on her Facebook page. All right, Patriots, thank you all that have helped in the past with money for this channel and equipment, and that's how we got to get this done. That's how we're doing it. Everybody jump in, write a letter to a J6er, call your representatives up, call your governor and ask them to send some National Guard down and protect our border. You know, there's all kinds of things. Yes, there is still a vigil from the Lewisburg area. They only end up doing it about once a month, though, now. And that is Tina and Roy are still doing that. And they have a Patriot group there, too. So they're keeping tabs on a lot of the J6ers, too. We got some J6ers that we just got to keep an eye on, man. Reed Christensen, I have not heard word on him yet. He was stuffed into the Philadelphia prison with no stroke medicines and stuff. And then, yeah, there's a couple J6ers we're really keeping tabs on. Bart Shively, he's out of prison right now, but man, he's hurting with this cancer that he's got right now. That got compounded while he was in the prison, man. Here's the channel for Lewisburg. So if you sub to that channel, hit the notification bell, you'll know. They usually do a vigil on Saturday afternoons at about 2 or 3 o'clock, so it doesn't conflict with anything else that's going on at Freedom Corner, though. But Tina and Roy, and they're getting great phone calls, too. And there is a lot of stuff out there right now. A lot of J6ers got their own media stuff going on right now. And just got to look around. It's out there. And that's what we try to do here, is just try to, if I see something, I'll bring it to your attention. And if you want to run and watch it, that works out great, man. Then we're spreading this information around, so it ain't all secret anymore and stuffed in a corner somewhere and forgotten about. This is all the information that has to get out to the rest of our countrymen so that we can put an end to this tyranny in the White House right now. All right, Patriots, I love you all. This is Jericho, over and out.